pleasant afternoon, everyone. My name is Handulab Honyo, and today we're gonna be tackling about the designing test to measure second language grammatical ability. We will be focusing on how this test development begin. This report details the key principles and stages participating in the developing effective grammar test. It emphasizes the importance of aligning test designs with the specific learning goals and real world language use situations. The process from initial goal setting to final test construction is outlined, highlighting the crucial role of context and evidence based assessment. So, how does test development begin? Test development begins with a goal. The primary goal of a test development is to assist a student's understanding of grammar in a specific context. So this means that ang test is needs to be designed to measure how well students can use grammar in a particular situation, not just their knowledge of grammar rules in isolation. Example is that a test for a business communication course might focus on how students use grammar in emails, presentations, or reports rather than just testing their knowledge of verb tenses. And this assessments provides valuable information for decision making, such as determining if a student is ready for a specific program or a course. Ang result of the test should help determine if students have the necessary grammatical skills to succeed in a particular program or a course. Example, um, as a student, if you are applying for a university writing program or a journalism, there is a test that can help determine if they have the grammar skills needed to write successful essays and research papers. And the target language use or TLU situations. So the TLU situations are real life scenarios where the target language is used for communication, instruction, or testing. This means that tests needs to be designed to reflect how language is used in a real world situations. Example is a TLU situation could be a job interview, a doctor's appointments, or a classroom lectures. And understanding the specific TLU situations is crucial for designing relevant and authentic tasks. So, ang task on the test should be relevant to the specific TLU situations, um, and it should be mimic the types of communications that students might encounter in that situations. Example, if the TLU situation is a job interview, so the test might include this task that involves writing a letter or participating in a role-playing scenario or even answering interview questions. Next is target language use tasks. These are the activities or tasks that require the use of language to achieve a communicative goal within a TLU situation. These tasks are the specific activities that students will perform on the test. Example, a TLU task is a TLU task in a job interview could be describe your strengths and weaknesses. And test developers aim to create the tasks that closely mirror the type of test students might encounter in the real-world TLU situation. So this means na ang task and it should be realistic and reflect the types of communication that students might need to perform in the real world. Example, if ang TLU situation is a business meeting, so a TLU task might involve writing an email to a client or preparing a business proposals or participating in a negotiation. Next is test authenticity. Ang test authenticity, it refers to the correspondence between the features of a language use task and those of test tasks. So this means that the test should reflect how language is used in a real world, not just focus on grammatical rules. For example, you have a subject. So, ang test ani for a business communication might include the task that involves writing emails, making presentations, or participating in meetings, rather than just rather than just testing students' knowledge of grammatical rules. So the more authentic the test, the more confident we can be that the inference drawn from the test scores generalize to real-world situations. So this means that the test results are more likely to be a good indicator of how well students can use language in a real-world situation. For example, a test that accurately simulates the real-world experiences of writing emails is more likely to provide accurate information about a student's the student's ability to write emails in a real world setting. And next is construct definition. So construct definition involves defining the specific areas of grammatical knowledge that the test aims to measure. So this means identifying the specific grammatical skills that you want to assess. Example, if you are creating a test to assess students' ability to write persuasive arguments, diba, you might define constructs such as argumentation, logical reasoning, evidence-based support, and clear organization. This step is crucial for ensuring that the test accurately assesses the intended grammatical ability. So this means that the test should be designed to measure the specific grammatical skills that you have defined. So, example, for instance, if you have defined the construct argumentation, you need to make sure that the test tasks are designed to assess how well students can construct a clear and logical arguments. Next is operationalization. So, operationalization involves designing a test task that elicits concrete evidence of the grammatical abilities being assessed. This means that creating tasks that will allow you to observe how well students can use the grammatical skills you are assessing. Example, if you have to define the construct argumentation sa inyong kagaina, then you might create a task that requires students to write a persuasive essay on a given topic. So these steps includes specifying the characteristic of each task such as the instruction time, limits, and the scoring criteria. So this means that providing clear instruction setting, time limits, and deciding how you will score the task. Um, for instance, is that you might specify that the AC task should be completed within 1 hour. Provide a list of criteria for evaluating the essay and assign points for criterion. And next is the importance of context. So, test development must consider the specific context in which the test will be used, such as classroom setting, a professional environment, or a real-life situation. So this means that the test should be designed to reflect the specific needs and demands of the context in which it will be used. For instance, there is a test for a university in writing course. You might have different requirements than a test for high school like ESL class. So this context influence the choice of TLU test, the constructs to be measured, and design of the test task. This means that context will influence the types of tests that you create, the grammatical skills that you assess, and the overall design of the test. For instance, um, um, for a university writing course like my example ganina, so you might focus on academic writing skills such as argumentation, research, and citation. So if the test is for high school like ESL class, you might focus on everyday communication skills such as writing, emails, or social media posts. And next is need analysis. So need analysis helps identify the specific grammatical knowledge and skills required for a success in a particular TLU situation. So this is the process of gathering information about the specific language skills that are needed in a particular context. For instance, if you are designing a test for nurses, you might use a needs analysis to determine the specific grammatical skills that are more important for nurses to communicate effectively with patients, doctors, and other healthcare professionals. This analysis is particularly important when designing tests for non-traditional contexts such as social studies and classes or nursing setting. So, ang pasabot ani is that um, ang needs analysis is particularly important when you are designing tests for contexts that are not typical a classroom setting. And for instance, a needs analysis would be particularly helpful in designing a test for social studies class where students might need to use a language to analyze historical documents or yeah, and then evidence and claims. So the test developers must clearly define the types of evidence that will be used to support claims about a student's grammatical ability. So this means that you need to decide what kind of evidence you will use to evaluate students' performance on the test. So example, if you are creating a test to assess students' ability to write persuasive arguments, you might use their essays as evidence to support claims about their ability to use logical reasonings and provide supporting evidence and construct a clear argument. These steps help ensure that the test is aligned with the intended assessment goal. So this means that the test should be designed to provide evidence that support the claims that need or that you are making about the student's grammatical abilities. For example, so if you are creating a test to assess students' ability to write a persuasive argument, so you need to make sure that the tests are designed to elicit evidence that support these claims. And test construction. Test construction involves designing and assembling the individual tasks into coherent and meaningful whole. So this means that you need to put the tasks together in a way that makes sense and that effectively assesses the grammatical skills that you are interested in. For instance, once you have designed individual tasks, you need to put them together in a logical order, ensuring that the test flows smoothly and covers all the necessary skills. This process involves considering the overall structures of the test, the sequencing of tasks, and the balance of different types of tests. So this means that you need to think carefully about the overall design of the test, the order in which the task will be presented, and the type of the test that you include. Example is that you might start the test with a simple task such as writing a short paragraph, and then gradually increase complexity of the test. Na na siya yung mga mga more challenging tasks such as writing as essay, and you might include a variety of task types such as addition multiple choice, short answer questions, and writing skills. That's all. Thank you.